right, hello again, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session. We are excited to provide you with valuable information regarding your multiple award schedule contract. And we also wanted to congratulate you on your new award. My name is Tommy Williams, and I am with the Office of Acquisition Solutions Division as a Mass Industry Engagement Manager. In today's session, we hope to equip you with the crucial compliance knowledge required to maintain your mass contract. We will also show how your ability to provide solutions that support agency priorities through the services you offer is one of the best ways to promote to your customer. And then lastly, we'll show you how to find free resources tailored to your needs with the MASS program. But before we get started, let's learn more about the presentation. So starting with a few housekeeping items, this presentation does not serve as contracting advice, nor does it modify contract terms and conditions of your schedule. If you have questions during the session, please type them in the Q&A pod. And then also note that this presentation is for those who currently have an awarded MASS contract. Make a note that the recording will be made available on the GSA Fast playlist on YouTube. And then our panel will address any pending remaining questions in the Q&A box. Well, they will be answered live by the end of the presentation. And like I stated, for our attendees, you will receive a copy of the slides following the end of the presentation, along with the link to the survey and some other resource documentation. All right, now with that covered, let's move along to who you hear from in today's session. So you see the agenda. Today's session is to equip you with the information necessary to be successful and better understand the program. First, I'd like to introduce the speakers you'll hear from today. As I stated, I'm a Mass Industry Engagement Manager, and I have extensive experience as a contracting officer contracting specialist. Our goal is to provide you with information on how to share your services for agencies and other authorized negotiators under this guidance. This segment of the session helps you communicate better with prospective customers and hopefully gives you a better understanding of the ongoing commitment to be successful utilizing your MASS contract. So after the first portion of the presentation, our contract compliance analyst, formerly known as the Industrial Operations Analyst or IOAs, as you'll still see that acronym on GSA. We are working to get that updated. And David, would you like to say a quick hello and share the areas you'll kick us off with?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. I'm David Fuchs. I am the contract compliance analyst that's going to be going through your slides today, talking about compliance, regards to sales reporting, tracking, and maintaining qualifications throughout your MASS award contract. Looking forward to working with you. Please feel free to ask as many questions as needed. Thank you, Tommy.
All right, thanks, David. And then after David's done with his portion, you'll hear from me again, and that's where I will share the free resources and show you where to go if you need help. These will include live demos, a forecast tool, and then the other sites that we have. And these will allow you to search for opportunities, acquisition opportunities. But let's move along and I'll walk you through in more detail, highlighting these critical areas you need to focus on as a MASS contract holder. And we'll begin with the language of acronyms. So these are frequently used acronyms and they will come up during today's presentation. So keep them in mind as we move forward. Yes, as I stated, you will receive a copy of the slides, but if you want to take a picture of the screen right now to have for reference as we go through, then please do so. And as you well know by now, the CO contracting officer or the PCO procurement contracting officer is the person who awarded your MASS contract. And in IDIQ, that is the base contract that was awarded already. And when you compete, you will potentially be awarded a task order from that IDIQ. And we'll share more on how it governs your contract, especially under the Revolutionary FAR overhaul in Part 8. That includes all the updates to the FAR and to update this regulation as information is released. And we'll have it posted on the GSA websites and also using our Mass Interact platform. All right, let's move forward. All right, so let's start off. So marketing your mass contract is important so that you can be equipped to share your services and expertise with our customer agencies in the federal marketplace. And I'll go into detail on compliance, covering RFO Part 8, which governs the program, because knowing this information will help you articulate how an agency can benefit from the services you offer. We'll start with the eBuy platform. So eBuy is where agencies will interact with you the most. And why is that, you ask? This platform allows agencies to post and manage requests for information and quotes, also known as RFIs and RFQs, to gain maximum contractor participation. It is also designed to make the online procurement faster and easier for federal, civilian, and military buyers. It provides access to a large pre-vetted vendor pool, and that now includes you, and ensures competitive pricing. In addition to offering best pricing, it reduces your cost in finding business opportunities. And it also helps establish new business relationships with the procurement key players. And then a few key features are that it saves time since the business opportunities and quotations are sent electronically. It provides an increase in sales potential as you become aware of new business opportunities. And all of this, which allows you to market your businesses to agencies. We unfortunately cannot do that for you. However, with this knowledge, you are on the path to success. And a point that I have to mention is that agencies love when vendors respond to RFIs. While the response is not necessary or required, it is a part of the acquisition process that helps agencies to develop their solicitation. So, and also responding to RFIs help to establish your company with agencies and build that relationship. So keep that in mind. And then next, we'll share the eTools market research from the GSA Advantage site. And it'll include the link to eLibrary on the following slides. So the GSA Advantage and eLibrary will become invaluable free tools that will assist you in market research. As you see, the platform uses the eTools menu as it's shown on the screen here. And so a picture is worth 1,000 words. And we encourage you to take time and become familiar with the site. And then once you log in, we've actually linked a job aid, and it's on the previous slide to help you navigate the site. But now we'll move along and discuss a key way to provide a total solution to an agency with a contractor team arrangement. So a contractor team arrangement is a great marketing and business tool that allows other mass contract holders to collaborate with one another and provide a total solution for an agency. The arrangement is developed by you, the contract holder, and submitted to the buyer as part of the response to a solicitation. And if you know of a requirement in advance, say from attending an industry day, which those can be found on sam.gov, it is best to establish the CTA in advance. That will ensure you're ready to submit your proposal timely when the requirement is made available. And then a few things to keep in mind. You need to identify all vendors and what they're expected to perform. The buyer will not have oversight on this function. We need to conduct a research using GSA eLibrary or GSA Advantage, and that shows all the mass contract holders under the different SINs, which you can search using these sites. And then also, you as the vendor is responsible for tracking and reporting your own sales in accordance with the terms of your mass contract, which makes you responsible for paying the related IFF. So contract compliance is very important in maintaining your GSA mass contract. The contracts are awarded in 5-year periods. The entire contract can be 20 years, but it is not guaranteed. So purpose, the federal supply schedule is designed to make buying easier for federal agencies. Think of it as a pre-negotiated catalog of commercial supplies and services at prices that reflect large volume buying power. GSA manages the program, and the rules that come from the Federal Acquisition Regulation, specifically the FAR and Part 8.401. So this isn't just policy, it's actually regulation. So any agency using the FSS program must follow in the ordering procedures in GSAR 538.7102-2, and that ensures every purchase is consistent government-wide. The ordering activity is any federal agency or other eligible entity that's allowed to place an order or set up a blanket purchase agreement, BPA. And so the order level materials are the products or services that you will need that aren't known when the scheduled contract is awarded. So OLMs, it lets agencies add those items at the time of the order, even though they weren't priced on the base schedule. And there were updates regarding the use of OLMs in refresh 31. So if your contract was awarded before then you've already received the specific message for this update, updating the terms and conditions and specifically spelling out OLM. But if it was awarded after that date, then that was already included in your contract award. All right, so a BPA is like a flexible long-term ordering agreement. It's set up for repetitive needs, so the agency doesn't have to start from scratch every time it buys the same type of product or service. Each BPA has to clearly spell out the scope of work, the ordering period, who is authorized to place orders, and the specific ordering procedures. That keeps everything clear for both the agency and the vendor. And there is an annual review. It's done at least once a year or before extending a BPA. The agency checks that the agreement still represents the best value and that the ordering procedures are being followed and that the pricing remains competitive. So the SAM.gov registration is very important when it comes to contract compliance for your GSA mass contract. A best practice is to put a renewal reminder on your calendar to give yourself enough time to meet the annual renewal date, because it can delay you receiving task orders or notification of agency events. And then here on the next slides, we'll give you a streamlined view of everything you need to stay compliant under your mass contract. And that'll include staying current with equal opportunity and EEO laws, verifying employee work authorization, and then regularly review any additional small business certifications that you have elected to show in your registration for your business. We'll get into the contract management next. So your company will need to complete all the required tasks to maintain your GSA mass contract. And this includes reporting your IFF, remitting those funds according to the terms and conditions of the contract, All mass mods that are released and the refreshes need to be reviewed and signed within the timeline stated in that particular mass mod after being delivered to your authorized negotiators. And also, when it is time for the CO to make a determination on whether to exercise the option for your contract or not, one of the items that is evaluated is minimum sales, which is $100,000 during your first base 5-year period, and it increases to $125,000 for each option period thereafter. If your contract is not producing these minimum sale levels, then it's possible that your contract's option may not be exercised and the contract allowed to expire. There are always caveats, but it is important to avoid this while maintaining your mass contract. This is being enforced as there are administrative costs associated with maintaining your contract, and the goal of government is to reduce costs that are not beneficial to taxpayers. And if you look right here in the bottom left corner of the slide, that's a link to our Mass Interact page, which is another tool to assist you in communications from us here for Mass. And then also you can get GSA email updates. You just need to click that link and register your email address. And get into task orders and modifications. So this is where many of you are right now. We will not claim to know your business, and therefore, please know GSA does not market your contract for you. You can explore working as a subcontractor to help elevate your business, which is a common practice. Also, other scheduled contract holders can elect to partner under the contractor team arrangement. And this is where two mass contract schedule holders team up to provide combined authentic solutions to customers, as we mentioned previously. The contract officer does not assist you on submitting your proposals. As I said, no one knows your business better than you. And when you are awarded a task order, know there is a contractor performance assessment report, which is included in a reporting system called CPARS. And this is the document that provides the grade for your performance that other government agencies can review when conducting evaluations for making future awards. So as time goes on, you may want to modify your contract. A best practice is to discuss the contemplated changes with your CO prior to submitting to gain clarity on what they will need from you when it is submitted. And currently, we ask that you be patient with your CO and CS as the rapid shifts in policy changes along with shortages in personnel. So there may be a delay. However, you will be assisted in a reasonable amount of time. And modifications are how administrative actions and changes to terms and conditions of the contract are handled. They can occur when initiated from GSA, contracting personnel, through the mass modification system, or when you, the contractor, initiates a modification request. And this is the screenshot you see on the screen for mass modifications. But now let's look at the contractor initiated modifications and where they are managed. So this is eMods. These are where the modifications are completed. It is the same system that you submitted your offer and manage it through that same system. And so when you want to request any type of modification, this is where that request is submitted. This includes send changes, authorized negotiator changes, or submitted in documentation for a novation name change. But you need to make sure that you read through the mass modification guide to ensure that you are submitting all of the required documentation for that specific modification request. This will make the process much smoother. And if you do not already have this document, then it will be included along with the slides after the presentation is completed. But let's talk about the points of contact for your contract. So to ensure customers can find and contact you, it's important to maintain updated points of contact across the multiple platforms that you will need to use. So you need to make sure your POC is clearly listed on the cover page of your mass price list. You need to make sure your e-library POC is updated, because this is where agencies look for vendors. And remember, this POC could be different from your e-buy POC. So you can keep it updated depending on who you want agencies to contact and reach out to. And in your e-buy POCs, these may vary by NAICS code. So ensure that all the relevant POCs are up to date to manage all the RFI and RFQs effectively. And maintaining updated contact information helps maximize your visibility, and it increases your chances of success in federal contracting. But now we will move into the transactional data reporting, TDR, and some of the best practices for you as a newly awarded vendor. So TDR reduces industry compliance by removing the need to disclose commercial sales practices, the CSP, and the requirement to adhere to most favored customer or MFC pricing. TDR also enables the government to better understand what is being procured, and the transactional data reporting is now mandatory for all SINs under the mass contract program. So the data is needed for better decision making when it comes to mass procurement. The information collected through TDR, it only enhances the mass program. And if you were not previously a TDR contract holder, the reporting goes from quarterly to monthly. And Refresh 31, which was released on April 2nd, is what updated and made TDR mandatory for all mass contract holders. So you need to ensure that you have read and reviewed that refresh and signed it, so that your contract can be converted to the mandatory TDR. And they were sent out in batches, so make sure you monitor your email and review that mass modification and accept it, as it is mandatory. And this change increases competition, and it allows vendors to offer discounts that align with their company. And you will begin reporting the following, it's starting in the quarter, but after your acceptance. But the applicable reporting month begins in July, and you will have until August 31st to report for the month of July. But just remember, it is now a monthly requirement. So you will need to report July, August, September, and continue on as such. And your IFF can be paid monthly or quarterly, depending on your company's preference. All sales are still reported in SRP. And if you need information on how to do that, then you can access the link that you see on this slide. So there are items that you will typically need to report in SRP for your sales. Some of these may not look familiar, as the TDR data requires more information than the non-TDR sales reporting requirement. We'll need all of this information to make better decisions about mass procurement. And these are all of the reporting fields that you will see in SRP. So you can read through the descriptions of them, and you will know exactly how to report. So this may not be a subject that some of you are familiar with, but just remember, Setting up your internal systems is going to be the hardest part, but once that is complete, it will make your life much easier when it comes to reporting sales. It is recommended that you access the link for the TDR requirements page to get a head start on establishing everything for TDR prior to the reporting requirement. The UCID will make life much easier, and it keeps everything organized as it's a cross-reference that is already established and connects your GSA mass contract to the labor categories names that are already awarded in your contract to your internal names for your company. And as you see here, these are the resources that we currently have available for vendors to utilize to make this process as seamless as possible. There's also training happening that you can register to attend. And below, at the bottom of the page, is the email inbox that can be utilized to submit any additional questions that are not specifically addressed in the resources. We will provide another TDR slide deck that goes into further detail about the requirements and how to properly report your sales in SRP. All right, now I will turn it over to our CCA, David, who will share more about their team's role in your contracting journey. All right. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Tommy. Let's move along. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Dave Fuchs, and I am a contract compliance analyst, formerly industrial operations analyst. And I'm going to be discussing the contract assessment process. Contractor assessments are the primary method GSA uses to assess and evaluate your internal controls and overall compliance with your GSA schedule, contract terms and conditions. It is important to understand what the contract requirements are now so you can comply with them and have a successful contract assessment. In the process of the assessment, a CCA will test your sales tracking system, labor qualifications, and administrative processes, as well as review your GSA schedule records to identify potential problems and areas for improvement. It is important to remember that CCAs are there to assist you. If problems are found, the CCA will make recommendations to assist you in fixing them. If you have questions or challenges, your CCA will be there to address them. The process is intended to assess your ability to maintain contract compliance. The CCA acts as the eyes and ears of the contracting officer and is tasked with performing contractor assessments. The CCA is a great educational resource and wealth of information. You can look up which CCA is assigned to your contract using the lookup tool in the Vendor Support Center. The contractor assessment will cover a number of different topics, including sales reporting, pricing, labor qualifications, and others. We won't have time today to go through all areas listed before you. However, I will review key areas, noting that all are important for a successful assessment. Now is the time to start thinking about compliance. Included in this slide are links to a variety of resources, which are well worth your time. Contractors need to report their GSA sales on a regular basis into the SRP system. To do so, you need to know how to identify which items are reportable and flag them in your system so you can separate them by SIN number. The three elements to determine whether a sale should be reported are: is the customer eligible to buy from your mass contract? Is the item or service awarded on your mass contract? And has the customer established some other contract vehicle? For a more detailed discussion, please refer to what is a sale resource link on the right side of the slide. The industrial funding fee is currently 0.75%, and inclusive within awarded pricing on your GSA price list. The IFF is what your customers pay to use the GSA MAS program, and it is how the MAS program is funded. Contractors collect IFF from customers and remit it back to GSA on a quarterly basis. By being awarded a scheduled contract, GSA is conveying to eligible customers that your company's prices are fair and reasonable. It is your responsibility to provide the approved pricing to all eligible customers. To be more competitive, you can offer discounts in a variety of forms. You may offer across-the-board discounts or special discounts to specific MAS contract customers. It is important to understand your GSA schedule prices are the ceiling, meaning you cannot increase your GSA prices, even if you receive consent from the customer agency. However, price increases may be approved through an economic price adjustment modification. While some contracts already have annual escalations built into the pricing, you may request an EPA modification to revise your GSA MAS contract prices. If prompt payment discounts are awarded in the contract, you are required to display the prompt payment information on all MAS invoices. If the ordering agency requires invoice submission through an electronic platform such as Department of Defense's wide area workflow, it is your responsibility to relay these terms within the online system. Prompt payment discounts awarded on the MAS contract are binding and may not be substituted for other concessions. The one exception relates to payments made by government purchase cards, where prompt payment discount terms do not apply. Labor qualifications will only apply to contractors that provide professional services. Professional service contracts are typically awarded with labor categories. These labor categories describe the minimum qualifications required of the person staffed in the labor category. The minimum qualifications and awarded labor categories are unique to your particular contract and were defined when your MAS contract was awarded. For example, during the assessment, the CCA will confirm if your senior engineer requires 10 years of experience and a PhD, you cannot staff someone with only 5 years of experience and a master's degree. Sometimes customer agencies prefer to use specific names for labor categories, which may not exactly match the names of the awarded labor categories on the price list. However, contractors may perform a crosswalk that clearly identifies which GSA MAS contract labor category maps to the functional labor categories utilized at the task order level. The Trade Acts Agreement applies to all MAS contracts and governs the allowable country of origin for manufactured products, among other things. This list of compliant countries are identified in the TAA clause. It is important to note that this list is not static. Countries can change depending upon newly instituted trade agreements or the abolishment of others. Service contractors are compliant with the Trade Acts Agreement if they are headquartered in a TAA compliant country. Only products or services awarded on the GSA schedule price list may be sold using the MAS contract. Some open market items may be included, but must be clearly marked as such. One example of this is when a project involves travel. Your contract typically does not include rates for airline flights and hotel stays. However, you can still include these in your projects, provided that you clearly mark them as not non-contract items. Non-contract or open market items should be identified at the order level and marked on invoices, as these are not GSA reportable sales and therefore are not subject to IFF. As an assessment wraps up, the CCA will provide a debrief of their analysis, including areas where compliance was demonstrated and where compliance concerns exist. The goal of the assessment process is to give contractors the opportunity to demonstrate compliance. If areas of non-compliance are identified, the CCA will work with the contractor to identify root cause and corrective actions. If a contractor does not agree, that they should provide the basis of their objection so that it can be reflected in the report and they can review the issue with the contracting officer. Upon finalization of the assessment, a report is written and delivered to the contractor and the contracting officer. After the report has been finalized, the CCA disposes of sensitive company information per rigorous requirements. On the following slides, Tommy will share the last key takeaways for today's session and share where you can go if you need assistance maintaining your newly awarded contract. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, David. And if you recall, I earlier spoke about many of these services in the marketing segment. And here I'll take you on a tour on a few of these free resources, starting with the Vendor Support Center. So let's go ahead and open that up. All right, so where do you go for help? The Vendor Support Center is a single location to assist you in managing and market research for your GSA MAS contract. You see these tabs across the top of the site. You'll be able to find everything you need to manage your contract and ensure you are compliant with its terms and conditions. So you can go into the managing my GSA contract as you've already been awarded. But one thing you'll need to take note of, if you have not already, you'll need to ensure that you register your contract so that you can utilize all of the items on here. And since you're under the multiple award schedule, you will click that down arrow. And as you see, it will give you of information for things that you can click on and get the information that you need for that particular subject, from contract compliance, contract management, items that we've discussed today, and then anything else that you may be wanting to get more information on. It will be able to take you to the places to provide that information. All right, so now this is the forecast tool. So it's on the Acquisition Gateway website. This gives you some helpful instructions here on how to use the site. But once you scroll down, then you see the actual tool. And this tool allows you to see any upcoming contracting opportunities. And the main filter is by agency name, which is the top one. And then you can continue to select additional filters to find a specific opportunity based on what you're particularly looking for. And as you add those different filters, it will work in the background, and then it will display the information that you were looking for. You don't need to click, run query or anything like that. It will do everything that you need, and then it will display all of the information that you're particularly looking for. And then also there are other resources listed on this website, as you see right up here. So just take your time and explore what it has to offer, as I'm sure it's going to provide you the specific detail that you're looking for, or information that you're looking for, or anything that you're curious about. And it may help you think about something that you had not thought about yet when it comes to researching upcoming acquisition opportunities. So with this, you can discover what's really on schedule. So the multiple award schedule is the federal government's one-stop shop for everything from office supplies to cutting-edge IT solutions. And it already has the pre-negotiated prices, delivery terms, and warranties. And MAST makes it easy for agencies to meet their missions while saving taxpayer dollars. But today's suppliers, they want more than a catalog. They want insight. How do our sales compare to others? Where are the growth opportunities? What trends can guide our next move? And so the Fast Schedule Sales Query Plus, it has some key features. Allows custom reports, lets you filter by product or service, send NAICS, business size, contract number, and more. And it even does it now to the fiscal year and quarter. It already has pre-built dashboards where you can view sales trends, early contract performance, and success rates at a glance. Then it has an interactive map, will let you filter and drill down by city, state, or zip code, so you can see the sales by vendor and region. And this really matters because it turns that raw data into actionable insight, helping you spot opportunities, benchmark performance, and refine your marketing strategy. And the instructions are listed right here on the web page to help you get started with utilizing this website. So here is a great data resource for personnel that work with the government. As you go into this, you just click on read the agenda. You can see that it lists the president's agenda and what the administration is focusing on for the future of government. It is great information for you to review. So you can just come in here and read these different items that are listed here and gain better insight into how you need to or what you need to focus on for your strategy. All right, so this is a great resource for small businesses. This provides selected demographic and economic data, and it's from the Census Bureau, and it's tailored to specific types of users in a simple to access and use format. It's a great resource to reference and to figure out where the focus of your business needs to be successful. And this is the actual webinars tab right here, but there are also other items on here that you can utilize to gain some further insight. All right, so here on this page, we've consolidated the links that we shared throughout the presentation, and then we've added others such as the YouTube playlist, and then the mass PMO office hours, which you can attend, and they're held every third Thursday. So June 18th is the next session. And you can click on the link and sign up for the next session, as it will provide different topics that are mass related. And it starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you, when you look through those links and the documents from the webinar, if you still have additional questions, then you can email me directly with those questions. Once again, thank you all very much, and have a great day.